What if I told you the reason you feel stuck, broken, confused, and exhausted is not because life is against you, but because you are living inside a truth that was never yours. And the moment you discover the real truth, everything changes. Your pain starts making sense, your failures start becoming lessons, and your life finally begins to set you free. Stay with me until the end, because this might be the moment your entire mindset shifts forever. There comes a moment in life when silence becomes louder than noise, when smiles hide battles no one sees, when you start questioning yourself more than the world. And in that moment, you don't need more advice, you need truth. Not the sugar coated truth that comforts you, but the kind that shakes you, breaks your illusions, and rebuilds your soul. Because freedom does not come from escape, it comes from awareness. And today, this truth is not here to comfort you, it is here to wake you up. You are not stuck, you are scared of change. You keep telling yourself that life has trapped you, that circumstances have locked your path, that nothing is moving forward no matter how hard you try. But if you sit with complete honesty for a moment, you will realize something uncomfortable yet powerful. You are not stuck in life. You are stuck in familiarity, in patterns that feel safe even when they are slowly draining your spirit. And that safety is the very illusion that keeps you from evolving into who you could become. Because change is not what you fear on the surface. What you truly fear is losing control, stepping into uncertainty, facing a version of yourself you have never met before. And that fear becomes so loud in your mind that it disguises itself as excuses, delays, overthinking, and emotional resistance, convincing you that waiting is wiser than acting, even when waiting is the very thing keeping you stagnant. And every time life pushes you toward growth, you retreat into what you already know, not because it is right for you, but because it is predictable. And the human mind often chooses predictable pain over unpredictable possibility, even if that possibility is where freedom actually lives, even if that possibility is where your real identity is waiting to be discovered. But there comes a breaking point where life stops negotiating with your comfort zone, and that is when you either rise or remain the same. And the truth you must face is that no external force is holding you back more than your internal fear of change that you have been feeding for far too long. You are not behind. You are comparing your journey. You wake up some days feeling like time has moved ahead of you, like everyone else has achieved something you are still struggling to reach. And that feeling slowly becomes a silent weight on your chest, making you believe that you are late, that you are falling behind, that something is wrong with your timing. But the truth is far more complex than that illusion, because what you are comparing is not reality, it is perception. And perception is always incomplete. You see people's success moments, but not their breakdowns. You see their achievements, but not their struggles. You see their confidence, but not the years of confusion that shaped them into who they are. And yet you use that incomplete picture to judge your entire journey. And in doing so, you unintentionally erase your own progress, the silent growth, the lessons learned through pain, the strength built during moments when no one was watching. All of it becomes invisible to you because your attention is constantly directed outward instead of inward, where your real transformation is actually happening. But the moment you stop comparing timelines and start respecting your own process, something shifts inside you. You begin to understand that life is not a competition, it is a construction. And every delay, every pause, every detour is not rejection, but redirection towards something that matches your depth, not just your desires. Your pain is not your enemy, your resistance to it is. Pain enters your life in forms you never expect, sometimes through loss, sometimes through disappointment, sometimes through silence where answers never come. And in those moments you assume pain is the enemy, something that came to break you, something that must be avoided at all costs. But pain is not the destroyer you believe it is. Pain is actually information. It is life speaking to you in a language you have not yet learned to understand. It is revealing where something in your life needs attention, healing, or transformation. But instead of listening, you resist it, you distract yourself from it, You suppress it under temporary coping mechanisms that only delay the deeper healing that is waiting for you. And the more you resist pain, the more powerful it becomes, not because it is strong, but because it remains unprocessed. And unprocessed emotions never disappear. They simply change shape and return as anxiety, confusion, emotional exhaustion, or a constant feeling of being lost without knowing why. But the moment you stop resisting and start allowing yourself to feel, acknowledge, and understand what pain is trying to show you, it transforms. It stops being a burden and becomes a bridge that leads you from ignorance to awareness, from confusion to clarity, from emotional chaos to inner strength that no external situation can take away. You are not powerless. You are underestimating yourself. There is a version of you that has already survived things you once believed would destroy. A version of you that kept going when everything inside you wanted to give up. A version of you that carried silent battles without recognition, yet still continued moving forward. And that version is proof that you are far stronger than the story you tell yourself on your weakest days. But despite that proof, you continue to underestimate your own capacity because you have been conditioned to believe that strength must be validated by others, that success must be approved externally, and that confidence must be given instead of built. So you wait for permission to become powerful instead of realizing that power has always been within you. And every time you hesitate, every time you doubt yourself, every time you delay action waiting for certainty, you reinforce the illusion that you are not ready, even though readiness is never a feeling, it is a decision. And every powerful transformation in life begins the moment someone decides to act despite uncertainty. The truth is simple but life-changing. You are not weak. You are just unfamiliar with your own strength. And the moment you begin to trust yourself even slightly, you will start discovering abilities, courage, and resilience that were always inside you but never fully awakened. Freedom starts when you stop lying to yourself. The heaviest prison a human being can live in is not made of walls. It is made of beliefs about who you are, what you can do, and what you deserve. And many of those beliefs are not even yours. They are inherited from fear, past experiences, or repeated self-doubt that slowly became your inner voice. You tell yourself stories every day that sound logical but are deeply limiting. Stories like, it is too late, I am not capable, I do not have what it takes. And over time, these stories become emotional truths that shape your identity, even though they were never facts to begin with. But the moment you start questioning those thoughts instead of accepting them, something powerful begins to happen. Because awareness breaks illusion. And once illusion breaks, you start seeing possibilities instead of limitations. And you begin to realize that your life was never fixed. It was always flexible, always open to change. And freedom does not come from changing your circumstances first. It comes from changing your honesty with yourself. Because the day you stop lying to yourself, even in small ways, is the day you start living a life that finally reflects your real potential instead of your conditioned fear. In the end, and now, you stand at a very important moment of realization where everything you once believed about being stuck, being behind, being powerless, starts to break into something clearer and more honest. Because the truth was never meant to hurt you. It was always meant to wake you up, to pull you out of the illusions that kept you small, and to remind you that your life is not controlled by the circumstances outside of you, but by the decisions you make within you. And the moment you truly accept this, you stop living like a victim of your story and start becoming the creator of it. Because freedom was never about having a perfect life. It was always about having a conscious mind, a heart willing to face truth, and a spirit brave enough to choose growth over comfort. And when you finally stop running from yourself, stop lying to yourself, and stop comparing yourself to others, you will realize that nothing was ever missing in your life except clarity. And now that clarity is here, the only question left is whether you will act on it or keep delaying the version of you that has been waiting for too long to finally be born.